I would say to them, surround yourself with other people who know you and know your true self and can remind you of that best self, and that you're going to be okay being who you are. Don't let other people set your agenda. Set your own agenda.
Well, I think it probably comes from the fact that I grew up in a very middle-class family in Dallas, Texas, and we were working very hard to have enough money to send the 4 of us kids to college. And we knew my dad's engineer salary wasn't going to pay for all of it. And so they had a property, a real estate business, and we were cleaning ovens and cleaning out people's messes when they left over and running the finances. I kept the books. And I think growing up in that sort of middle-class family with this dream of going to college, you remember how important it is to get a great education. Like, my parents were determined I would get a good education, but it set my values. I mean, that, and my parents sent me to an all-girls Catholic high school. I kind of wanted to go to a different all-girls school that was more academic, but that social justice grounding I got in high school, it just helped me really wrestle with my values early. Say, lastly, having 3 children, you constantly have to be thinking, what am I teaching my children that I want them to live out in the world? And am I living my life that way by what I say and I do? And so always, always, always goes back to your values. I don't see myself as any different than anybody else. I'm this young girl who grew up in a middle-class family in Dallas, Texas.
Trying to become successful is an extreme challenge to you and those around you. So when you're listening to people and their feedback and what they think of you, you cannot let their thoughts ruin your attitude, ruin your mindset, or create a devastating path for you to go down. No matter if they say is good or what they say is bad, you cannot let that affect you in any which way. Always focus on what it is that you need to do, not what everybody else is telling you, because some people might hype you up too much when you're actually struggling, and other people are definitely going to bring you down way too much when you're doing the best that you can and you're making great progress, but they just can't see it and they don't understand. So you need to know that you're never better than anybody else, but other people aren't better than you as well. You need to keep a level head and understand that everybody on this planet should be treated the same no matter how successful or how unsuccessful they are. Everybody's at a different starting point in life, and it's all about how you end it, not where you start or where you're going, but how you finish the job. So never assume that people are better than you or that you're better than anybody else, because you don't know what's going on in their life and you don't know what they're trying to do or how they're trying to do it. So it's best to just assume that they are in the same boat as you, trying the best that they can and wanting as much help and wanting the resources and wanting to be as successful as they possibly can one day. So you should go out there and try to help as many people as you possibly can when trying to become successful, and that reward will come in the end.
Well, I talk about empathic leadership, and I believe in being compassionate to everybody around you. And so whether you talk about love explicitly or not, I think it's what you do to role model. So when you have the employee who has a death in their family, or has a loved one, a mother or father who's ill, or a young child they're caring for, I think it's in how you respond to them as a manager or in reverse that shows your humanity. And people are basically, I think the best organizations are ones where people can show up as their full selves at home and at work, and that they don't have to hide parts of themselves. Now, it doesn't mean if you're going through something emotional at home that you want to bring all of that to work. You do have to manage your own emotions. But I think the more we let everybody be themselves, the more we will have empathic leadership. And to me, that ultimately is, when you reach out and connect with somebody over their humanity, that ultimately is love, whether you name it or not. In both Niger and Senegal, I mean, literally in my hotel room in tears, because I realized that all this work we'd done leading up to this summit on contraceptives was like the tip of the iceberg. It was like but the beginning of this enormous body of work. That contraceptives aren't enough. It is one tool for women. But if you don't do all of the right things for women, if you don't do the right things in agriculture, if you don't make sure that she has a cell phone in her hand so she can save a little bit of money on her phone, if you don't give her access to a healthcare worker that can teach her about nutrition for her family, she's not feeding the right things to her kids to make sure they have the appropriate calories to have the right cognitive development. If you don't help her get her daughter into school, if you don't teach the family about child marriage and how devastating that is for their daughter, you're not going to make progress. We're not going to make progress that I would like to see in my lifetime in the next 25 years. When I imagine a world for women and girls, we have so much work to do. When we first thought of doing an annual letter. Warren Buffett said to us, I think you all should do an annual letter. Just explain, like he does in his Berkshire Hathaway annual letter, explain how you think about the foundation. And when he mentioned that to us first, we both thought it was a good idea, but I just said, oh my gosh, Bill, we had 3 young kids at the time. I just said, I don't have time to put pen to paper. And Bill said, that's okay, I'll do it. So Bill had been doing it for a number of years and he got very comfortable doing that. But as I became more public about my role with contraceptives and as I became more determined that we do certain things on behalf of women, it just, and our children were older, so I had a bit more time, it just seemed the time that I should step in and write more of the annual letter. And what I hadn't realized is that Bill had a lot of ownership over that at that point. And yet I knew it was important to have my voice there. And so we had a discussion the first year of the letter and I wrote a little sidebar. And by the 3rd year, I was like, I'm writing half the letter. And so yes, those aren't always easy conversations to ask what you want in your home or what you see and want in your work life, but we all need to do that. And I think in doing it with our partners, we again get it right for society and we role model for other women stepping up and using your voice.
So thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let us know what you thought down in the comment section down below.